Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district.
And I'm her husband and summer support producer, Fuzz Martin. Hello.
Hi. It's funny, you turned your head again. You're like our dog listening.
Yeah, well, we tried to record, and Shannon was talking, doing her intro, and I saw that her levels were moving, but it was not recording. So I got the look.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi.
But we figured it
It's
out
working.
now.
We're good. We're
You know what I did?
recording.
You know what I did? I clicked the wrong button.
There you go. See, sometimes you got to click the right button.
That is true. I recommend clicking the right button.
Yeah.
That'll get you through a lot of things in life.
It will.
Yeah. You just
hit enter.
follow
hit
the
delete,
instructions, read
hit
the instructions.
Escape.
Yeah.
Important buttons.
All those things. All those things.
So yeah, episode 93.
Wow.
We are heading towards the end of the school year here.
Yes.
We are at that stretch. Memorial Day is coming up. There's just so many things.
There are a lot
on.
of things. Mm-hmm.
And I know here in Wisconsin, like we'll be ending the first week of June usually.
Mhm.
I know my sister-in-law who teaches out in Connecticut isn't done till mid to late June. So we're all kind of in the end of it, but some of us more than others are
Sure.
there. So this week and like next week we'll have a break because of Memorial Day. And then our last episode for the season will be the week after that. And I know I get a lot of questions. I know lots of educators do from parents, like, how can I support my kid over the summer?
Yeah.
Or what should my kid be doing over the summer? And we always say read and go outside because they need to go outside. But also sometimes kids want a little extra support. Parents want to support their children. And some kids are just like, hey, like if they're going to play a game on a computer, it should be something they're learning from or reviewing stuff. So this week and 2 weeks from now, we're kind of just doing some summer support. I'm doing part 1 this week. We're going to talk about K-5 supports. And then our following episode will be summer support for 6-12. So just some boosters for things that kids can work on that are fun over the summer. It's not tedious and it can be done in very short increments of time. So a few minutes here, a few minutes there. Just a few review things and some fun games and stuff like that. And also some ways to get outside. Not that we need like ways to get outside because literally you just have to walk outside your door. But
Right.
If you're going to go do something outside and want to try something new, there's actually some sites and apps that can support that too. Hooray!
Hooray!
So let's get started. We are going to start with the going outside stuff because to me, that's so important that while I love technology and the use of technology, I firmly believe in going outside and doing things.
Yeah. Get
outside.
some fresh air.
Yes.
Take in nature.
Right.
Or
I mean, we even work on our deck sometimes where we're like on our computers.
Yes.
Because the Wi-Fi works on our deck.
It
So we can
does.
sit outside and work. But this is actually doing things. So the first one, if you have never heard of, I know people have heard of geocaching.
right.
I don't know if everyone's heard of geocaching. Or you've heard of it, you don't know what it is. Or some people like, oh, geocaching, I used to do that with my uncle 100 years ago. I don't know. It's still alive and well. Geocaching is where, I guess the website is actually, it'll link it to your app. It'll be
Okay.
an app. So it's geocaching.com/play or just geocaching.com. And what's fantastic about geocaching, it's the world's largest treasure hunt. Like you are hunting for clues and finding things. And what's cool about this is you throw the app on your phone or an iPad or whatever device you want to run around with. And what's so cool about it is it's all free. You create an account and then you can go through and find geocaches that are near you. And you had a fun fact that West Bend, which is right near us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, West Bend, Wisconsin is the geocaching capital of the world. Every year they have the Cash Bash, which has thousands of people from all around the world, from everywhere from like India to Australia to like they come to West Bend, Wisconsin, a town of 30,000 people, to participate in the Cash Bash. And I know this because I've lived here for a while, but I'm on the board of directors for the West Bend Area Chamber of Commerce, and that is who runs the Cash Bash. And it is crazy how
that's awesome.
Yeah, like it's like
and
hotels are booked like 8 months in advance.
People like travel here for that, and it like if you pull it up, just the geocaching.com, it'll tell you what geocaches are near you if you have your computer hooked up to, tracking where you are. But like there are 2,658 geocaches around West Bend alone. So it's so cool. You find the geocache, you use your app to like navigate, you run around outside, and then you document it. So you can sign and date the log books. There's usually little clues to find. You drop clues, you share clues, you sign in, you track things, and it's just really cool. It's a great way to get outside. You can do it with your family. You can do it with a friend or two. I have middle schoolers that do it as kind of a group, and I know like one of their parents leads it, but they find so many fun things. It's just a great way, like even on a rainy day, like we're just going to go find like 5 clues today, or we're going to go find 2. You're not going to run around town for hours and days on it. I mean, obviously some people do, but it's just a fun way to get outside, go find some clues, maybe go some places you're not used to.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a cool thing to try. So if you've never geocached, students K-5, like I'm thinking fun ways to get outside. It's like a treasure hunt. It is treasure hunting without having to do a bunch of planning or like hiding stuff yourself. Like people have already hit it. All you have to do is go find it. And I think that is such a cool thing. You could turn it into like a whole day's activity if you wanted to go hunt treasure in your own town.
Yeah. I kind of liken it to the Kindness Rocks thing a little bit, like in that you're discovering stuff that other people left behind. The Kindness Rocks is more of that you're stumbling upon it, whereas geocaching is there are coordinates that you go and seek out. But it's a lot of fun, and again, it's like real nice, and like you get out, you know what you're like where you're gonna go, but it's still a surprise when you find what you found. So
cool.
Yeah, pretty cool deal.
So yeah, go do some geocaching. Geocaching.com, put that app on your phone and go hunt some geocaching. So there's that.
Yes, there is.
Hooray, hooray. So our next site doesn't go along with geocaching. Random, this one's just going to kind of stand out to us. So if we're looking to support kids over the summer, and I know some of our kiddos, we have want to try something new, or they may not be English speakers. And so Rockalingua.com is such a cool site. So it's ROCKALINGUA.com. Rockalingua. And it is a site that is based out of it's in Spanish. And so it's like music-based Spanish learning. So what's cool about I use it actually with my 8th graders. It is set up for younger students, but my 8th graders actually take like basic Spanish in 8th grade. So they're learning colors and numbers and some basic conversation stuff. And so I threw this at them because we're at the end of the year. I'm like, hey guys, I'm trying out this site. What do you think? And they had so much fun with it. Definitely for elementary kids to expose them to different languages. And they have videos and they have games and they have songs and like printables and crafts and tutorials, all kinds of stuff. So Rockalingua is part of it is paid, but there's tons and tons of free resources that you could play around with all the free stuff. And then if you really love it, you could pay for parts of it. But so if you go to their homepage, you'll see all the different choices you have. If you click on something like games, you'll see that you have, I think there's like 4, 5, 6, 7-ish games to pick from. You can pick if you want to talk about like high frequency verbs, numbers. The bubbles are fun because you get numbers and colors and all kinds of stuff. That's what I was playing before when you and I were talking.
Sure.
And And so you can start a game and then choose, like, do you want to cover feelings, school objects, numbers, or colors? And then you play a game, it shouts something at you in Spanish, and you have to figure out what it is.
Sure.
So it's a great way to introduce students to something new, maybe that they haven't tried before, or if they have students that want to learn some Spanish, they can learn some basics or review some basics. And so it's just a fun site to play around with the games and the music. And if you pick, like, if you choose videos, again, some will be free, some will be paid, but there are plenty of free resources to try out on the site. And you don't even have to sign in or sign up or anything to do the free things. You can kind of just play around with it. So there's a lot of choices. And yeah, if you want to, again, incorporate some Spanish and learning some vocabulary, practicing what you already know, it's kind of cool. So Rockalingua.
Cool. Rockalingua.
Try it out. It's really entertaining very quickly. So yeah.
That was me singing to Rock of Ages from the old 80s hairband song. I don't even remember who sings it.
Nice.
Def Leppard, maybe?
No idea. And now you're going to look it up.
Yep,
so on that note, Def Leppard.
Yes, you're welcome.
So again, with our summer support moving forward, a lot of times we're looking for summer support in reading. Obviously, hauling out lots and lots of books and exploring vocabulary is great. And I know some schools use this in class. It's called Starfall, STARFALL.com. I know some schools use it already on a regular basis, and they have paid subscriptions. You can use, there's plenty of free resources to use and to kind of direct your parents to for our K-5 students. Like, hey, if you want to try, your kid is in kindergarten or pre-K or grades 1, 2, or 3, they can go through. There's lots of reading support, and there's other things too. So there is reading, there's vocabulary practice, there's also math practice, and there's library kind of stuff. There's phonics practice. So there's a lot of different choices. Our youngest likes to crank through, and she loves to play Starfall, and then she hits the point where she's like, the 4 things that you have to pay for on the site.
Oh, yeah.
It's because she dresses her avatar and then she can't change its outfit.
I gotcha. Okay.
So
that's how they get you.
Yes. So there are plenty of practice things that you can do on this site. They are very engaging. I think like ABC Mouse type activities.
Yeah.
But again, it's partially free, partially paid, but there's lots of free things on Starfall that you can use without paying. And just a fun way to kind of reiterate things if you're reading, and then they can kind of go practice their reading online and do that together, which is kind of fun too. So check that one out, Starfall. It's good for some summer support.
Nice.
And our last site for summer support for K-5, I hadn't realized I had never talked about it. As like you and I were, I'm like, hey, have we not used the site before? And you're like, no,
we haven't.
So it's education.com. It's a very original name.
Yes.
And
sounds like a very expensive domain name.
Yeah, true. It's connected to IXL. For those of you that use that for math, I know lots of schools use IXL. Education.com is kind of like an affiliate of that. And there are so many things. So again, this is one of those where there's lots of free things, but you can pay for the premium membership if you want to.
Right.
No need. And if you go to education.com, it's like kind of not overwhelming, but there's like worksheets, games, lesson plans, activities, workbooks, exercises, songs, stories, like holy cats. There's so many things. And as a teacher, it's a great resource. But if you want to direct families to it, the best thing I can say is to give them a topic or literally tell them to click on games, because they're education-based games. It's not like gaming games. But then if you click on games, you can decide like preschool to 7th grade.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And then by subject, coding, math, reading and writing, or typing. Typing is so huge in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
For our kids to actually be typing.
Yeah.
With keys on a keyboard correctly.
And not tapping on a phone.
Yes. Well, a lot of times our Chromebooks are like touchscreen.
Yeah.
So they get so used to touchscreen that they're not always typing on keys. So if you want them to practice that, they can. And they have things from fractions to clock, like practicing on clocks, to addition, subtraction, to adjectives. There's all kinds of really fun, engaging, colorful, don't worry about Flash Player games that they can play.
Yep.
And
they have hundreds of games.
Oh yeah, like there's so many to keep kids engaged and practicing without having to, like, 10 minutes a day practice the math games, or 10 minutes a day practice your typing skills, and then go outside and do some geocaching. But the other thing that I'd like to highlight on like education.com is in the upper right-ish corner. You do log in, but it's free.
Okay.
So you do need to sign up, just so everybody knows. But then there's a little kids button. So you could just say, hey, kid, click on kids. You can go practice for 20 minutes and go do some education stuff. You can play as a guest. And the sound's
Look, you're playing as a guest.
You play as a guest. That way they don't have to pay, and they can actually be on just your account. And then you can choose math, reading and writing, or typing. That's very laid out pretty for them in these little like worlds. And then they just choose their grade level, pre-K through 5. And if you, like, I just clicked on 4th grade, word meaning, and it'll take you right through little challenges. There's spelling, word structure, grammar, sentences, informational text, and letter writing. And so there's activities that go with each one of those that they complete and practice through, which is really nice. So you don't even have to lay it all out for them. You can literally say, like, click on kids and your grade level, and they will have things that are appropriate for them to practice. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
And helpful for some review work without it feeling like
you're not being taught to, you're immersed in a game.
And just a little
like
practice. So
interactive and stuff.
Yeah, in the summer, so it's not.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I mean, teaching too is also fun. But in the summer, it allows the kids to have
their flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can just throw on click kids, do some math for 15, 20 minutes, and then go ahead and go outside and go sidewalk chalk or something. Or go paint some rocks and spread some kindness rocks everywhere.
It's pretty cool. They do have that single sign-on with Google. So if you have a Google account, or if your families have a Google account, it's really easy to just say, sign up with your Google account, and then they don't have to memorize another username and password.
Right, the kids can sign up at school too.
Yeah,
because you can choose to sign up as a parent, as a student, or as a teacher. So you can pick any one of those three, which is nice too.
Yeah, very cool. So that's education.com.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised we haven't talked about it yet. But you know what? There are thousands of tools out there, and we have about 300 of them right now in our EdTech
Directory. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm hoping that those are helpful and supportive over the summer and not being overwhelming. I'd like to throw it back. Like last week we talked about like probability and all those math sites. The week before we talked about reading sites. There's been a lot of things throughout kind of the end here that would be great for summer support. But I thought that these were fun and a little bit like lighter when it comes to summer support that doesn't feel like there's too much pressure in it. Like you just play and have some fun and learn some things. There's that.
Well, there we go. 93 episodes.
Giddy up.
In the books.
Woohoo. Well, thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter @SmartNWI. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in this episode, visit smartnwi.com. Keep an eye out this summer. I'm doing some virtual webinars. It's 6. If anyone's interested, you'll be able to sign up for those pretty soon.
Pretty exciting.
New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed in this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author Shanna Martin and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we hope they do. And we'll talk to you next time on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.